What seemed like out of nowhere, the Sacramento Kings would decide to fire their head coach Mike Brown. This is after they lost their third straight game and happened to be against the Detroit Pistons. The Kings, at the time recording this video, have a record of 13-18, but I don't care what anyone says, this made zero sense. And if I'm being honest, it seems like this team was kind of headed towards a downward spiral, but I promise you, firing Mike Brown was not the solution you think it is. Oh, and if you think I'm tripping, well, take other NBA head coaches' advice.
And I go into the meeting and the coaches say, "You hear about Mike Brown?" I said, "Why? What happened?" They said he got fired. And at first I was really shocked. When they win, it's going to go to Sabonis and Fox. When you lose, it's going to go to Mike Brown. That's the way it works. And two, who he works for, because I got fired by the same person. And what really pissed me off about it was the fact that he does his post-game media, and he's in his car going to the airport to fly to LA, and they call him on the phone. No class, no balls. That's what I'll say about that.
Oh, but it's not just them. We got ex-presidential nominee Andrew Yang talking about this firing. I think everyone understands that this was a bad move, and again, it made zero sense to do something like this. Oh, and do you want to know the most messed up part about this entire thing? This man was fired over the phone on his way to the airport for the Kings' next game, which I believe is against the Lakers. Now, if you don't understand why I'm so frustrated about this, first of all, I love Mike Brown as a coach, but if I put that aside, let's look at what he actually did for Sacramento. Now, I think most of you know that Sacramento, when it comes to their team's history, they're not exactly one of the best. I mean, this is the same team that had a 16-year playoff drought, which funny enough was ended because of Mike Brown coming in as the coach. This is the same person that, like 500 days ago won the Coach of the Year award? And I get it, some of you might want to say, oh, but Spex, the Kings are 13-18. If we're going to fire head coaches because of their record right now, then fire half of the NBA's head coaches. Please fire Steve Kerr, fire Mike Budenholzer, fire literally any of the teams that are bottom 5 in their respected conference. Like, again, I think I need to say this, but Mike Brown, when he came to this team, it was not a Kings team that made the playoffs. It is not a Kings team that was known for doing well. They were a Sacramento Kings team that had not made the playoffs in 16 years and were trying to find their own way. In 2022, Mike Brown came into the Kings and he had their best performing season since 2004, winning 48 games and making it to the playoffs. Now, unfortunately, they would lose in the first round, but this team would slowly progress, and unfortunately, they didn't make the playoffs after, but it was only one season that they had missed, and this season they had high expectations because of free agency, but unfortunately, the roster just really isn't that good, and De'Aaron Fox, it seems like this man is about to get traded any day now, but the solution to your problem was firing the guy that gave this team hope. It's pathetic how we are blaming head coaches for a team doing bad. Now, you might be asking, well, Spex, then why is Sacramento bad? Because, oh, Mike Brown didn't play this guy, or he played that guy over that guy. This roster just isn't built to win, at least in the way it is right now. Which, real quick, I think we should address that first, because this whole De'Aaron Fox situation is kind of annoying to see. If you guys don't know, De'Aaron Fox is basically about to leave Sacramento any day now. Okay, so I think I just had a breakthrough while recording this video. I'm not a guy to wear the tinfoil hat, make up a conspiracy theory, you know, but just hear me out on this, okay? So I saw this video on Twitter. This was a little bit before Mike Brown got fired, and it's Mike Brown talking to De'Aaron Fox. And I don't know, it's something about the body language that just had me thinking for a second. But then wait a minute, because what about this interview that Mike Brown did about a couple days ago?
I'm gonna challenge you, De'Aaron Fox. You gotta figure out how to get to that level without having somebody piss you off. What's that?
There's nothing you guys can do, coach, teammates on you guys.
There's some things that we could do.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue to try to do it.
Okay.
But as a great player, you got to take that upon yourself more than worry about other things. Now, if other things come along, great. Yeah. But you got to figure that out.
And you might be saying, well, why did Mike Brown say that? Well, it had to do with a podcast that De'Aaron Fox did with Draymond Green.
For me, man, it has all to do with just the team, the organization. Where are we going? I want to make sure that we're in a position to try to win in the future. Like, I feel like I'm continuing to get better as a player every year. But for me, it's, are we looking like we're continuing to get better year after year?
So you put all of that together and you put what happened today, you know, with the body language, the way they were just looking at each other. Did De'Aaron Fox get Mike Brown fired because he said he had to step up? I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm reaching. But if that is the case, then that organization is so I'm sorry. I mean, I feel like I'm too nice in these videos sometimes, but I'm not saying that Fox is having a bad season, but to a point, I do think he should step up. I do think that Fox needs to be a better leader, and he could be so much better as a player. I mean, we've seen Mike Brown as a coach. This isn't a guy that's just gonna tear on you for no reason. He is a guy that wants to bring the best out of you. And if you mean to tell me that Fox had his feelings hurt, or that he just didn't want that for whatever reason, especially when he said himself, oh yeah, I feel like I'm getting better, then I don't know what to tell you. That is just loser behavior in my opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys enjoyed the video so far, leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are about 41 subscribers away from 25K. I'm shocked, I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not think we were gonna do it this year. Like, I know I kept saying it in the videos, like, yeah, subscribe, but I'm gonna be honest, this is actually crazy to me. But as the great Mamba Kobe Bryant would say, the job is not finished. So if you guys been enjoying the content I've been dropping over the past couple months, and again, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you guys enjoy raw, unfiltered NBA content at least 3 times a week, then this is the perfect channel for you. And if you end up subscribing and you don't like the content, you can unsubscribe at any time. It is totally free to try it out. But I do think if you end up subscribing, you're gonna like the content, especially because, man, in 2025 we got so much shit planned. I plan on dropping at least one more video before the year ends, so I'll talk about my plans for 2025 probably at the end of that video, but I don't want to waste any more of you guys' time, so let's just hop right back into talking about the Sacramento Kings. Now I want to move on from just De'Aaron Fox and Mike Brown for a sec because I want to talk about the actual team. When I usually do these videos, I like to look at team stats, especially the ratings, and it's weird that this team doesn't make sense because on paper they should be a legitimate playoff team. At the time recording this video, they're currently top 10 in offensive rating and right in the middle in defensive rating at number 15. Now you might say, oh, they have a mid defense, and to be fair, I do agree with you with that, but that doesn't mean you should be a not even playoff team. Again, if you have a top 10 offense, you should usually be like, I'd say right around that 6 or 5 seed. But then as I was doing research for this video, I actually saw a video by Legend of Winning on like his 2nd or 3rd channel called The Low Post. I'll put this video in the comment section below, but he pointed something out that I didn't even think about. Basically, to sum up what he said, Sacramento hasn't really played that many good teams this year and actually won. In the games they did win versus good teams, it was out of context. Like for example, they won 2 games against the Phoenix Suns this year, which by the way, if you've seen that team, they're just not good. But even when they were good for that little bit of time, in the games they played, they either didn't have Kevin Durant or Bradley Beal. Actually, in one of the games, I don't think they had either one of them. Now, while there are dozens of examples that I could tell you about that have to do with the same topic, I actually want to move on. Because like I said earlier in the video, it is the roster and how just guys that are like around De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, and even DeMar DeRozan, those guys just haven't done the best. Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, even Keegan Murray, a guy who's only averaging like 12 points per game right now, those guys have not done that well. Like their bench and the rest of the rotation, they're just not performing at a high level. And it cannot be just De'Aaron Fox, DeRozan, and Sabonis doing well. I mean, especially when DeMar DeRozan, he only helps their offense. When it comes to the defense, he's not really doing that well. And Sabonis on defense, that's an interesting topic. I'm trying to be more positive this year, but I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. He's not a good defender. Now, De'Aaron Fox in recent history hasn't been a good defender, but to be fair, this year he has been a good defender. At least he's been better than he's been before. In fact, the craziest part about Sacramento's defense is this year and last year, this has been the best they've been in quite some time. In years before, they've always been like at the bottom of the league. The reason why they made the playoffs a couple years ago was their offense. They had a great offense, but their defense, it just was not good. And you cannot be a team that's really good at offense, but really bad on defense. Again, I know I said it earlier with the teams they were playing, but those metrics are out of context, so I don't know what to believe. I'm gonna be honest with you. I know I have my rule where in the first 20 games, you don't necessarily judge a team. Who the f***'s car is that? That hurt. Okay. Oh, I gotta stop banging my hand on my desk. I'm gonna break my hand one day. Okay, as I was saying before that goddamn car interrupted me, I think this is a rare instance where no one in the organization knows what's going on. Do they blow up the team? Do they try to make a trade to contend, even though, let's face it, they're not just one move away? I think blowing it up is a very premature thing to do, especially because you still do have a couple years of DeRozan left. You have Sabonis, who is still a really great player. Look, the bottom line is that Sacramento has one of 2 choices. Either they make some moves before the trade deadline trying to better the defense, or B, you blow up the entire thing, which again, I don't know if that's the direction I want this team to go, because this is the best Kings team we've seen since 2004. I was a fetus when this team was actually good. Well, not including the past couple years. I mean, that'd be crazy. I mean, imagine a fetus being a YouTuber. I'm getting off topic, yo. Like, it's the rare instant of you were such a bad team for a long time and now you're okay, but you want to blow it up. Honestly, I don't even know where they go. Me personally, if I was the GM, if I was the owner, I would say try to make this work. Try to extend De'Aaron Fox, which we don't know it's 100% happening, but try to extend Fox, keep these guys on the roster, except DeRozan. I would trade him for some defensive players and let some of your younger talent develop. And by that, I really mean just let Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis develop. But oh, trust me, it could be worse because you could be the Phoenix Suns. I'm not gonna crash out yet. We are in a happy mood. We are in a great mood. I can't fuck. Thank you for 25K if we hit it by this video. I'm gonna break my webcam now.
Turn on the lights in here, baby. Extra bright, I want y'all to see this. Turn on the